Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharidhari Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharidhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Safe approved. Can you go to, the Srimad-bhagavatam, the cabinet? The Srimad-bhagavatam? Yeah, I forgot to bring it out. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today for the Srimad-bhagavatam. Yes, 8th canto. Wait a second here. I think we did 14 and 15 the other day, which actually what we're doing today is finishing the chapter, because no verse, the rest of the verses in the chapter don't have any purports. So, chapter 4. So I think we're about from 16 or so, 16 to 26, I think it is. 18, 15. Yes. Okay, so I'll read it out of the book. I don't have the screen. If someone likes to look at this, you can follow along on this thing. I'll start with this one. Okay. So we are reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 4. And we're actually going to finish the chapter today, because every verse, no verse has even a purport. So we'll read all the verses, and then we'll see what we do after that. So we'll start with verse 16, and maybe the rest of them I'll just read the translations, and we'll see how it goes today. We'll start with chapter number 16. Idam aha hari prito Gajendrang kuru sattama Srinvatang sarvabhutanang Sarvabhuta mayo vibhu Idam aha hari prito Gajendrang kuru sattama Srinvatang sarvabhutanang Sarvabhuta mayo vibhu Idam aha hari prito Gajendrang kuru sattama Srinvatang sarvabhutanang Sarvabhuta mayo vibhu Idam aha hari prito Gajendrang kuru sattama Srinvatang sarvabhutanang Sarvabhuta mayo vibhu Idam aha hari prito Gajendrang kuru sattama Srinvatang sarvabhutanang Sarvabhuta mayo vibhu. Word for word. Idam, this. Aha, said. Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pritaha, being pleased. Gajendram, unto Gajendra. Kuru Sattama, O best of the Kuru dynasty. Srinvatam, hearing. Sarva, Sarva Bhutanam, in the presence of everyone. Sarva Bhuta Mayaha, all-pervading personality of Godhead. Vibhu, the great. O best of the Kuru dynasty, the supreme personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, being thus pleased, addressed Gajendra in the presence of everyone there. He spoke the following blessings. Okay. So now we have many verses here without purport. So I'm not going to try to read all the Sanskrit and everything. We'll just go to the translation. Verses 17 through 24. We'll just read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, freed from all sinful reactions are those who rise from bed at the end of night, early in the morning, and fully concentrate their minds with great attention upon my form. Your form, this lake, this mountain, the caves, the gardens, the cane plants, the bamboo plants, the celestial trees, the residential quarters of me, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the three peaks of Trikuta mountain made of gold, silver, and iron, my very pleasing abode, the ocean of milk, the white island, Swetadweep, which is always brilliant with spiritual rays, my Marka Srivatsa, the Kaustuba gem, my Vajanti garland, my club, Komodaki, my Sudarshan disc and Panchajanya conch shell, my bearer, Garuda, the king of the birds, my bed, Sheshanaga, my expansion of energy, the goddess of fortune, Lord Brahma, Lord Narada Muni, Lord Shiva, Prahlad, my incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha, my unlimited all auspicious activities which yield piety to he who hears them, the sun, the moon, fire, the mantra, Omkar, the absolute truth, the total material energy, the cows and the brahmanas, devotional service, the wives of Soma and Kashyapa, who are all daughters of King Daksha, and rivers, Ganges, Saraswati, Nanda, and Yamuna, also known as Kalindi, the elephant, Airavata, Dhruva Maharaj, the seven rishis, and the pious human beings. Okay, and there's no purport. So, next translation. My dear devotee, under those who rise from bed at the end of night and offer me prayers offered by you, I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives. Rising at the end of night means before sunrise, so which is what we are taught to do. And Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, after giving this instruction, the Lord, who is known as Rishikesh, bugled with his Panchajanya conch shell, and in this way pleasing all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma. Then he mounted the back of his carrier, Garuda, as in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 4th chapter of the Srimad-bhagavatam, entitled Gajendra Returns to the Spiritual World. So we don't usually comment if there's no purport, but there'll be a couple of points here that are obvious. So Krishna has a conch shell. Krishna's conch shell has a name. This conch shell was called Panchajanya. Panchajanya. Like the conch shell we blow, but it was a big conch shell. And so Krishna, that Panchajanya was actually a big demon. The conch shell is the shell or the bone or something of some living entity. So Krishna had some fight, and he killed that demon. But he took that conch shell that was left from the body of that demon, and it's his conch shell eternally. So it's a very so that particular personality whose conch shell body got usually Lord Krishna is some special soul like that. So anyway, that's Panchajanya. And of course, Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is emphasizing twice here, two different verses here. Those who rise from bed at the end of night and offer me the prayers offered by you, was the Lord speaking. So yes, Krishna consciousness, we say, of course, we get up early in the morning, we come, we offer prayers. The song we sing for Guru Puja, Guru Puja, well that also, but the Mangal Arti, Sri Gurvashtika it's called. So we're offering prayers to the Lord and to the spiritual master. But to rise up early is considered to be very good and it's just like human life practically. Those who well, there's a verse that says, "What is night for the conditioned souls is a time of awakening for the self, for the perspective, not perspective." If you're the word, anyway, for the saintly persons, the time of awakening for the great souls is a time of sleep for those who are conditioned souls, and the time of and then just the opposite, the time of sleeping for the conditioned souls is a time of awakening for introspective is the word, introspective sage. So we see that a lot of times. What time are the bars and those places become very populated for those who don't go there? We don't go to those places, and we know about them. Usually, the very late at night and the early morning hours, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's when people are up. And of course, they're getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and they're getting intoxicated or going to see some prostitute somewhere and those kind of things during the night. And they are obviously going to wake up late in the morning after spending all night engaged in those kind of activities. But here is specifically saying, "My dear devotee, unto those who rise from bed at the end of night," that means, well, it definitely has to be up before 6 o'clock, but our practice is to get up before that. So we get up by maybe 4 o'clock. So we could be here when Krishna gets up. Krishna gets up in the morning at 4 o'clock. He does. And we wake the deities just around that time every morning. And he gets up and he gets out of bed, and we offer him. We don't usually we get up in the morning, we probably don't eat our breakfast in bed, but Krishna does. His breakfast is the sweet milk sweets. So those milk sweets that everyone likes. Krishna is eating those early, 4:00 in the morning or 4:10 in the morning. He's just getting out of bed. So he just woke up. He hasn't brushed his teeth. He hasn't taken a bath. He's just getting out of bed, and Mother Yashoda is bringing him a tray full of all kinds of milk sweets and butter and milk and yogurt, milk sweets like that, to try to get him to wake up in the morning, because he was actually unknown to anyone. He's out playing and enjoying his pastimes with the gopis and out in Vrindavan forest during the night. But nobody knows that except for them. So he just gets back shortly before that. So when Mother Yashoda comes to wake him up, he just went to sleep. But that's Krishna. He can do these things. He's God. He can do anything he wants. So then he gets up early in the morning, and that particular time of morning, if we get up and we come and see Krishna when he's just getting up, when he's still in his pajamas. Indeed, which we don't usually call pajamas, really. You call them just a night outfit, but that's what we would call it. So he's getting up and still wearing his pajamas. He hasn't cleaned his teeth. Indeed, if there's actually part of the procedure, if we do it properly, we're offering Krishna the facility to clean his teeth. And deity worship's done. We actually aren't doing this very properly here, but when we were, and when we get back to it, we don't give Krishna a toothbrush and some Crest toothpaste, or bright, some kind of special toothpaste to brush his teeth. Krishna brushes his teeth with a twig, like a eucalyptus twig. Eucalyptus or some kind of twig. You take this is common in India. I mean, at least it used to be. You take a branch, a little twig from certain kinds of trees, eucalyptus or neem, or some of these trees have medicinal properties. You chew on the end a little bit, or somehow you make the end softer, like the bristles of a toothbrush. You chew it up till it's a little soft, and then you clean with that, and it actually it clean your teeth if you're doing like that. It has a medicinal, besides the cleaning, scrubbing part, it has a medicinal purpose too. So anyway, that's the way Krishna is offered to clean his teeth in the morning, and that's done. That would normally be done at the time of bathing the deities, but he hasn't cleaned his teeth at the time, and then he gets up in the morning, and he's eating milk sweets, and when he open the curtains, he still hasn't. He's just wearing his pajamas, and hasn't brushed his teeth. He just got out of bed, like that. And normally, with a normal person, you don't really want to see them first thing in the morning when they're trying to, wake up and shake off the tiredness and all that. But if we get an opportunity to see Krishna at that time, in the morning, if we actually wake up, of course, we have to get up and brush our teeth and shower and all those things. We don't follow Krishna's example in that sense. But we get up and we prepare ourselves. We come here to see Krishna, and the mood that we're trying to develop is that we should be so anxious to see Krishna that we should gradually develop that hankering to see Krishna. It's called serving in separation. Serving in separation. So just like in Vrindavan, when Krishna's there performing his pastimes, or when he manifests his pastimes, he's always actually there. But when he was manifesting his pastimes, he would get up in the morning, and his friends, who hadn't seen him since the afternoon before, they were very, very, very anxious to see him. There's this feeling of separation. Just one day, half a day, a few hours, a few minutes. It's like how can we live without seeing Krishna? So that's someone who's on the level of pure love of Krishna. But we are trying to, by our devotional service, we're trying to develop that kind of a mood. So the actual mood that we should have in the morning, we come from Mongol Arctic, and not just like, why do I have to do this again? I'm tired. I want to go back to sleep. No, we should be thinking, I want to come, and I've been thinking all night, I just have to see Krishna's beautiful face. Why do I have his beautiful face? Like that. Or Jagannath is always smiling. Shri Gaura Shri Radha, Braja Bihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, and Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. So that's the mood that we want to try to develop. So we should come here in the morning and be thinking, really in the mood, like anxious. When's Krishna going to come? When's the curtain's going to open? When's he going to come out to play? Like that. So we're thinking like that, and that's called serving in separation. We're serving, and whenever we don't see Krishna, that we're in anxiety. And when will I see Krishna again? And the only thing that gives us relief from that anxiety is chanting his holy names, or knowing that I'm doing some particular service for Krishna, but to be not engaged in some kind of service on one level or another for Krishna, then that becomes very, if we're in the right consciousness, that becomes very difficult. So in Krishna's pastimes, the cowherd boys are in anxiety all since the afternoon before, when they all came back from the fields taking care of the cows. And then after Krishna eats his very big breakfast, which I've explained before, Mother Yashoda arranges with all the ladies to make this big feast for Krishna every morning for his breakfast. So after all that's done, then Krishna goes back out to the fields. And when he goes out to the fields, the Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and everyone who's in Vrindavan, who's not going out with Krishna, they're experiencing this transcendental anxiety. It's transcendental anxiety, but that Krishna's gone. How can we let a minute pass? We don't see Krishna's beautiful face. Krishna's very, very, very beautiful, and everyone's whole life is just Krishna. So when he's away, then their thoughts of Krishna increase. They become very intense. So the feeling of separation is described as being all very agonizing in a sense. But if it's actually as agonizing, but it's a very high level of meditation on Krishna, because you're thinking, like they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. You heard that. So if you're absent from Krishna, if you're a pure devotee of Krishna, and you're absent from Krishna, personal association, direct association, for minutes, then it seems like years. In fact, it's in the Shikshashtika prayers. A moment seems like 12 years or more. A moment that I'm not with you seems like 12 years or more. Remember that translation? It's one of the prayers that we chant in the Shikshashtika prayers. So that's the mood. It doesn't happen automatically. This is consciousness. This is a very high level, but this is but this is actually very much desired by those who are on the path of Krishna consciousness. So going with the verse, it's a very, very, very auspicious thing, very helpful for us to become Krishna conscious. Is coming early in the morning, coming to Mangal Arati, seeing the deities, and then trying to develop that consciousness, that anxiety, spiritual anxiety. I've got to see Krishna. I've got to see Krishna. And the same thing before each arati. When you're out doing some service, when Krishna appears again, there's the noontime arati, the afternoon arati, the evening arati, and then Krishna's curtains are closed for a half hour before, because we're offering Krishna his lunch or his dinner, like that. And the mood we would like to develop is that those who come to the arati, it's not just like, okay, I saw Krishna, I go, someone may come here and visit and say, okay, they call their parents back in India. Okay, I did my duty. I went to the temple, and now we're on our way out. Now, that's there, and I guess it's not bad. But the idea is that we're to try to develop the anxiety to see Krishna, and the anxiety that I have to be engaged somehow or other in Krishna service. And even if we have job outside, which pretty much everyone has to have, because this is the nature of the material world. So even if we have to have a job, still the thought is, okay, I'm doing my job, and I'll do my job very nicely. I won't be irresponsible in my job, but my anxiety is I want to see Krishna. I want to see Krishna. When do I come back and I'll see Krishna? Srila Prabhupada tells about his father. Srila Prabhupada's father, he said, was he would get up. I'm not sure what time he got up in the morning. He'd get up early, I think, and then he had his household deities. They had deities in their home, so he worshipped his particular deity early in the morning. He rang the bell, did arati. I don't know specifically the procedure, what he did. Something simple, but he did that in the morning. Srila Prabhupada told how when he was a child, when Srila Prabhupada was a child, his sister, they were their children. They would wake up in the morning and they would hear the father ringing the bell, worshiping his deity. So he would worship his deity in the morning, and then he would go to his occupation. He was a cloth merchant. Srila Prabhupada's father was a cloth merchant. He would sell fabric. So he would go later in the morning and go to a shop, and he would sell his merchandise. And then in the afternoon, in India, the afternoons tend to get really hot, especially during the summer. So a lot of times in the afternoon, people who have shops, they close for a couple hours. They just close the shop. It's just normal. And he would just lay down inside and rest a little bit. But then he would get up again and work until sometime at night, after it cooled off. But then he would come back at home, and he would go, and he would ring the bell, offer arati, worship his deity again. So of course he spent most of the time with occupation. But Srila Prabhupada said for livelihood, to earn money, for livelihood, he did, he had to work. He had his business. But he said, his real business was worshiping his deity. His real business was that. So he had business for making money, and that took most of the day. But his real business, or his real interest, was worshiping Krishna. So he would worship Krishna in the morning. He did what he had to do to earn some money because he had a family, and then he would worship Krishna at night. And that was actually what was important for him, for Srila Prabhupada's father. So we can develop the same thing, same consciousness. Maybe we have to go somewhere and work in some office or some car, taxi, like that kind of thing. But we're doing that. We got to do it, and you got to driving a car. You better have your mind on the road, otherwise, there's going to be problems. So you're doing those things, but in the back of your mind, okay, let me do what I have to do, and then make some money. But let me get back, and as soon as I can finish what I have to do, I go back and I see Krishna. I come for the evening arti, or I come to such service like that. But that's the mood. At least that's the mood we're trying to develop, like that. So anyway, I would say I can't speak on anything. It doesn't have a purport, but these are. Anyway, I did. Verse also mentions the Srivatsa mark of Srivatsa. I mentioned this the other day. Srivatsa means the goddess of fortune. So so on the body of Lord Vishnu or Narayan, same. Like on the Vaikuntha planets, they say all the personalities are everyone looks the same. All the devotees look the same. All Krishna looks, or Vishnu or Narayan looks the same. But Lord Narayan has one distinguishing characteristic in appearance. That right here, he's got some tuft of hair, white hair. It says. Let's see. My marker Srivatsa. Well, it doesn't say here, but it says white hair, right here on the chest, and that is it's described as being the resting place of the goddess of fortune. So, but that he has that distinction. Nobody else, even if they have the form and body like that of the Lord, like in the Vaikuntha planets, nobody else has that. So that's Srivatsa. Kaustubha gem is it's just a very special gem. I think the Kaustubha gem, of course, is Krishna's, of course, but he, if we read in the Krishna book, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there's a pastime when Krishna defeats the Kaliya serpent. You know the Kaliya serpent? Anyone? The Kaliya serpent, the snake?
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's
Yes. Okay, so you know, I'll explain. Kaliya serpent. So in Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, there was a demon. He was a serpent. He was like maybe he had 1,000 heads. I'm not sure how many heads. A lot of heads. He was like a snake with a lot of heads, and he was huge. He was big as high as this room here, and he was living in the Yamuna River, which goes through Vrindavan, but he was very poisonous. So wherever he was, the water became poisonous, and if the cows or anyone drank that water, then they would die. So Krishna was not going to tolerate that. He had to tell this serpent to convince him to get out of there, because he was hurting his Vrindavan devotees. So anyway, the Kaliya serpent, Krishna dove into the water, unafraid. He's a little child. I don't recall what age he was, but he was young. And he dove into the water, and he let the Kaliya serpent play with him for a while, wrap him up, and a snake has a long body, so he wrapped him up and held him like that. And anyone else who would do it, just crush the person, Krishna was not worried. He when he was ready, he just easily slipped out, and he jumped up on the head. These so many. It's like a cobra, but you think of like a cobra with hundreds of heads. So he was jumping up on the head, and he was Krishna's expert at everything. So he was actually dancing on the heads of this demon snake, and he was dancing very hard, like tap dancing, but on the head of so he was dancing like that very enthusiastically, and he was actually defeating, hurting the snake because he was very hard on his head. So this went on for a long time, and finally the serpent just gave up. He said, I can't take anymore. Even the wives of the serpent who were there watching, they were actually devotees of Krishna somehow. But they were watching this, and they were begging them, please forgive our foolish husband who's causing you this problem. Anyway, they ended up. He ended up after some time calling a serpent, but finally he was really defeated. He couldn't take anymore, and he surrendered to Krishna. So when he surrendered to Krishna and offered his different prayers and so on, and then later on he wanted to give Krishna something. Okay, I'm really sorry. Let me give you something. So he got the best thing in his treasury, his treasure chest, and there was a jewel called the Kaustubha jewel. It was some extraordinary kind of jewel, and he found that, he got that. It was the best thing that he had, and he gave that to Krishna. So this Kaustubha jewel, which Krishna always has, was given actually by a demon after he finally was surrendered. But of course, the understanding is that it was actually Krishna's jewel anyway, because everything belongs to Krishna, and he of course he knew what was going to happen, so his jewel he put there, and it was the best thing, and he knew that the serpent was going to, in the end, might give Krishna the best thing that he had. So the best thing that he had was actually Krishna's anyway. Everything's Krishna's anyway. So he found that jewel, and he gave it to Krishna, thinking, okay, this is mine. It's the best thing I have. Krishna, here, please accept this. So that's the Kaustubha jewel. And what else is mentioned here? By Jayanti Garland. By Jayanti Garland. You know what Jayanti Garland is? Jayanti Garland is a flower garland, but it's a flower garland. It's made with at least five kinds of flowers, and it is long. If you're standing up and you're wearing it, it hangs down to your knees. Sort of like that picture there. I think it would be a little longer, and I don't see 5 kinds of flowers there in that picture. But yeah, that's the idea. It's a long garland, and if you're standing up, it hangs all the way down to your knees. So 5 kinds of flowers, and it hangs down to your knees. That's what's referred to as a Vajayanti garland. And my bed, Sheshanaga.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, so the Lord, not so much Krishna, but this is Lord Vishnu, or Lord Narayan, who's speaking all this. So yes, Lord Narayan, he actually has a snake bed. As snakes are, we think of snakes, and I don't know, I'm going to stay away from a snake. They might bite me. The snake's body is very soft, and if you can actually sleep on the body of a snake, it's probably an uncomfortable bed, other than being afraid of the snake. So Krishna, Lord Vishnu's or Lord Narayan's bed, and he's always lying down on his couch, so to speak. he's lying down on that, and he's very comfortable. But it's a snake with many heads, and that particular snake, not only is he acting as Krishna's bed, but he's also constantly glorifying the Lord with all his heads. He's constantly with he's described as a 1,000-headed serpent. But so with those 1,000 heads, each head with each mouth, he is glorifying, saying different things in glorification of the Lord. And he's been doing this since the beginning of time. And he never repeats the same glorification twice. So you can imagine how glorious Krishna is, or Vishnu is, that this snake personality can, with all his heads, with 1,000 heads, and constantly from the beginning of time, has been glorifying the Lord, and he never has to speak the same glory a second time. So we can't imagine how great and glorious Krishna is. Or we can't. It's beyond us. It's beyond us. So that's Sheshanaga.
And what does the Saraswati
Sudarshan?
represent?
Sudarshan chakra. Sudarshan chakra, Krishna has, and Vishnu especially is known to have, because he's always holding it. It's a disc. It's actually and his disc is a devotee, actually. Yeah. All his paraphernalia, they're all personalities. So his disc was actually a devotee, taking that form. Sometimes these discs and so on could take on a personal form too. They could change. But as the Sudarshan chakra, and also the Jagannath, Balaram, Subhadra, and there's a pole there on the Jagannath's right side. You see? So that pole represents the Sudarshan chakra of Lord Jagannath.
So he holds the devotee on his finger.
Yeah. He has also this devotee, Garuda, who's mentioned here, who he rides on. Garuda is a big bird. A big bird. A big bird being able to carry someone. So Lord Vishnu flies here and there. He didn't go on American Airlines or Star, or what do they call them? These things. These are rockets that they're trying to get to the moon and these places. He didn't travel on those. He rides on a bird, his bird carrier, called Garuda, and he travels everywhere like that. So Garuda is a devotee of the Lord, but he's in that form.
So each attribute are personalities, characters.
They're personal. Everything on the spiritual level is personal. It's all spiritual. Krishna has a club, and that club has a personal form also. Besides as a club, he can manifest in a personal form. The club, the Sudarshan chakra, the lotus flower, and the conch shell. So, anyway, these are things on high spiritual levels, but that's just a fact. So the Lord has his devotees and his associates like that. Anyway, there's a few points here. Anything else in the translation that you remember that you like to know about? Maybe I can tell something. Omkar. Omkar is a representation of Krishna. It's kind of like Hare Krishna, but we're not taught to chant Omkar. We're supposed to chant. We chant Hare Krishna mantra. But those who can actually chant it properly, then it's a spiritual mantra. It's a real mantra. Om. It's actually 3 syllables, which I'm not going to. If you spell it out, it's actually written as AUM. Om, like that. Om. Yeah, yeah. So that's there. It's a spiritual sound vibration. And it shows up. There's a lot of prayers, a lot of first verse of the Shri Upanishad. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam, like that. Many places you find Om, but we are not taught to chant Om. We're taught to chant the Hare Krishna mantra.
So it also mentions
Maybe speaking to the microphone so they can, in case they was watching. Up close. That's not close. Up 2 inches from your mouth.
It also mentions that if you concentrate on the sound, the moon, fires of elements, you can also so you should also early in the morning, you can really concentrate your mind on the form, the attributes, and then it mentions the sun, the moon, fire, mantra, omkara.
Yeah. Well, without the purport, I can't say a whole lot. I know in the Gayatri mantra, which is something we're given when we get second initiation, the first mantra refers to the sun. The sun god is actually an incarnation or an empowered incarnation. I'm not sure of the Lord, the sun. So that's sun's very special, and it's mentioned specifically in the Gayatri mantra. So and the Gayatri mantra is supposed to be chanted 3 times a day: early morning, sunrise, noontime, and then sunset. That's the proper way. And I know sometimes devotees come and we talk about, okay, eventually you can get the second initiation, you get your Gayatri mantra. Oh, I've been chanting Gayatri mantra for 5 years already. But Gayatri, which I'm not sure what they're chanting. They're probably chanting the first line, if they're chanting anything, and we actually have 7 different mantras. So Gayatri mantra means there's actually 7 mantras that we have. And if you were to take sannyas, you won't take sannyas. But if you were to take sannyas, then you're giving, there's an 8th mantra, which is specifically for the sannyasis, an additional one that the rest of us don't have. That's Gayatri mantra, Gayatri mantras. So I can say partly that refers to that, meditating, the morning meditation on the sun and so on.
Yes, it makes sense because most of the yogis, whoever is practicing yoga, the first thing they do in the morning, they also worshiping the sun god, right? They offer Surya Namaskar, Surya Kriya, right?
Yeah, so that's there, and we respect the sun. We respect the sun as we respect Krishna, and the sun is definitely a very important personality in the universe. Without the sun, everything else doesn't happen. The sun and the sun alone lights up the whole universe. It's not that, according to Vedic knowledge, the sun, any light which is emanating directly from somewhere in the universe that lights up the universe is actually coming from the sun only. It's not that there are thousands and millions of suns in different galaxies, and they're all lighting up everything. It's actually this sun that we know of is lighting whatever is being lit up is from that. And the moon is very reflective of the sunlight. But the sun is what lights up the universe.
And you mentioned so many other things, so we can't concentrate on all of them at the same time, right? But is it mentioned just because, well, for example, some people they worship Lord Shiva, so that the first thing that we concentrate in early morning that would be Lord Shiva. Some people so maybe worshiping Lord Brahma. So what's the point of losing all of these?
Well, and if we just chant Hare Krishna, it covers everything. If we chant Hare Krishna, it'll cover everything else is covered. A lot of that refers probably to demigod worship. So that's there. But if we chant Hare Krishna, then all the demigods will become pleased also. So we don't have to individually try to worship all. I have to do these rituals for Lord Brahma, so Lord Brahma will be pleased, and I have to do all these things for Lord Shiva, and I have to do all these things for Lord Indra, and I have to do all these things for Chandra, the moon god, and the other 33 million demigods. So it becomes it's not possible. And if you mess up in demigod worship, you might get a very different result than what you're looking for, because the materially everything has to be perfect. Whereas in devotional service, we try to develop a devotional mood, but if we make some mistakes, well, in the process of devotional service, trying to keep the devotional mood, but maybe we don't do something just right, then it's not a big thing, because our advancement, Krishna is accepting the devotion. He's not saying, oh, you chanted this mantra with you chant, a demigod, maybe you're chanting and this actually happened. There was somebody who was performing a sacrifice to try to kill Lord Indra, but the priest, they made one mistake, holding one syllable too long or not long enough. Everything else is good, but there was some little mistake, and the meaning of the Sanskrit the verse that they were chanting was different, because the word with the long syllable is different than that with a short syllable. So you're doing something on a material level and you make a mistake, you're going to get a very different result from what you're planning on getting. So instead of getting somebody who would kill Lord Indra, they got somebody who would be killed by Lord Indra. It changed because of a mistake in their mantra chanting. But if we make a mistake, if we're chanting Hare Krishna and we're trying to concentrate on our japa, and maybe we don't pronounce the word exactly right, then it's not like we go to hell or some bad thing happens. Krishna knows what we're doing, and depending on where you are in the world, you taught to chant Hare Krishna. Maybe your language doesn't actually allow that those certain kind of sound vibrations may not actually be in your language. It can happen. But anyway, you do the best you can do. But the devotional attitude is what counts. If you look at the 10 offenses to chanting, we don't want to blaspheme the devotees. We don't want to consider the names of the demigods to be on the level of Lord Vishnu's name. We don't want to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. None of these things have to do with the perfect pronunciation of the Hare Krishna mantra. We don't want to blaspheme the Vedic literatures or those literatures that tell us about, Krishna, and so many things. So we try to follow those principles. We try to follow those principles. But if our chanting is not perfect, we try to be attentive. But if something's not perfect, or just like we were talking about some words in the songs, if we sing the songs, we try to get it right. But if the song pronunciation is a little off, it's not like everyone goes to hell because they pronounced the word wrong. So, I lost track of what we started talking about. What was the subject?
I was asking why are so many things listed in this?
Yeah, so this is for people in general, but the goal of all this is for us to become Krishna conscious. The goal is to become Krishna conscious. Even sometimes, and I'll speak a little bit, and then I'll have to stop because I really just noticed the time again. But just like sometimes things are mentioned, just like in the second canto of Srimad-bhagavatam, I think it's the first chapter. Anyway, second canto, maybe the first chapter. There's a series of verses where it's describing, well, if you want strength and you worship this demigod, if you want a good wife or a good husband, you worship this demigod. If you want good health and you worship this kind of worship and this kind of worship and that kind of worship. So all these things are mentioned, but we're not really encouraged to be worshiping the demigods. So saying all of those things, and then it comes the verse says, the Sanskrit verse is akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham padam. It means akama means if you have, kama means desire. So akama means the opposite. So desire means if you have no desire, akama. Sarva kama, sarva means all. So sarva kama means if you have all desires, you're full of material desires. Akama, sarva kama, no. Moksha kama, if you have the desire for liberation, it means like impersonal liberation or any kind of liberation. Moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti. Anyway, if you want any of these things, you have no material desires, you have all material desires, even if you want liberation, what should you do? You worship Krishna. You engage in devotional service to the Lord. So it was mentioning so many things you can get by worshiping different demigods. But now it's saying, okay, that's there. You can do that if you want. But the conclusion of it was that we should just engage in devotional service to the Lord. If you have all material desires, which would lead one to demigod worship. Even if you want all these material things that the demigods can give you, don't worship the demigods. Just engage in Krishna service, and Krishna will he'll either give you those material things if it's good for you, because he's going to take special care of you now. So he'll either give you those things, or he won't give it to you, but he'll purify your consciousness so you don't want it. You realize that these material things are not. It's just temporary. It's useless. I don't need any of that. So he'll either give it to you, or he'll purify you so you don't want it. And as far as moksha, well, the real moksha or the real liberation means you go back home, back to Godhead. The other one, the impersonal Brahmanifold, Brahman realization, means that you can go there only temporarily. Temporarily might mean you're there for thousands of years, millions of years. We don't know how long it is. But you won't stay there eternally because you, the soul, want to be active. You are active, and there's no activity in the Brahmajyoti like that. Let me just make sure I don't ask any question here. No questions from those who are watching. So it's getting late. I have some duties to take care of here. Tomorrow, yes. Tomorrow we will start chapter 5 of Srimad-bhagavatam, the demigods appeal to the Lord for protection. So another exciting chapter coming up in Srimad-bhagavatam tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.